Hey everybody, Eternal Fire here, bringing you a video guide on the Survival Hunter in the pre-patch of the Legion expansion 7.0.3. Today we're going to be looking at the new abilities, as this is now a melee hunter class. It's no longer ranged, so basically everything's been revamped. We're going to be looking at the talent tree and build, stat priorities, and single and AoE target rotations. So let's look at the spellbook. First we have Aspect of the Cheetah. It's now a 3-minute cooldown instant ability. Increases your movement speed by 90% for 3 seconds, and then for 30% for another 9 seconds. Aspect of the Eagle is your damage cooldown. Grants you and your pet 10% increased critical strike chance on all abilities, and increases your chance to gain charges of Mongoose Bite by 100%, last 10 seconds. Aspect of the Turtle replaces Deterrence, so it's no different. Carve costs 40 focus and is a sweeping attack that strikes all enemies in front of you for physical damage. This is going to be your main AoE focus dumping ability. Exhilaration is a 2-minute cooldown instant ability, heals you for 30% and your pet for 100% of maximum health. Flanking Strike costs 50 focus, and this is going to be your main single target focus dumping ability. It's on a 5.65 second cooldown, or whatever, based on what haste you have. Coordinated attack on the target, where you deal physical damage and your pet deals physical damage. If the target is attacking you, your pet's attack will deal 50% increased damage and 4% increased threat. Otherwise, your attack will deal 50% increased damage. So basically, if the target you're attacking is hitting you, your pet's going to do 50% more damage and 400% more threat. So, it's going to basically try to taunt it off you. And if you're not being attacked like you wouldn't hopefully be in a dungeon or raid, you're just going to do 50% more damage yourself. Then we have Harpoon, which is a really fun ability. It's on a 20-second cooldown. Hurls a harpoon at the enemy, rooting them in place for 3 seconds and pulling you to them. So it looks like this. You throw the harpoon and you lurch forward. Then we have Hatchet Toss. It's basically just to grab aggro on something, I would assume. Tosses a hatchet at the enemy, dealing physical damage. Lacerate is a bleed. It's on a 10-second cooldown. Tears a bleeding wound into the target, dealing physical damage over 12 seconds. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you are your initial burst is over, that's when you're going to apply Lacerate. You don't apply Lacerate right away. Mongoose Bite is your main damage dealing ability. It's on an 11.3 second recharge. Again, based on what haste you have, that may change. Attempts to sever the target's limbs with a brutal attack that deals physical damage and grants you Mongoose Fury. Mongoose Fury increases Mongoose Bite damage by 50% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. Successive attacks do not increase duration. So let's talk about that a little bit, because it's really important to your damage rotation. When you use Mongoose Bite, you get a buff called Mongoose Fury. Mongoose Fury, for every stack that it has, it increases the damage of your next Mongoose Bite by 50%. And that buff lasts for 12 seconds. Even if you put up more stacks, it doesn't refresh that duration. It's still 12 seconds. So basically, you want to get as many Mongoose Bites in as you can in that 12 seconds when you initially put up that buff for yourself. So, we're going to go in more detail about that later, but I just wanted to make that understood. Muzzles and Interrupt. Raptor Strike is a really underwhelming ability. I don't really use it at all, almost at all, in my rotation. It's just a vicious slash dealing physical damage. And then lastly, Wing Clip for your abilities just slows the target by 50% for 15 seconds. So then we have 2 passive abilities. Survivalist, after you kill a target, you and your pet gain 15% health over 10 seconds. So that's going to be really nice while you're questing. That's going to help a lot. And then Mastery Hunting Companion. This is what you get. You gain more of this from the amount of mastery you have. Your pet attacks have a 4.4% chance to grant you an additional charge of Mongoose Bite. So again, the more mastery you have, the higher that percentage number is. So let's look at the talents. Throwing Axes is my choice in the first tier. You just toss 3 axes at the enemy, dealing physical damage. And that's kind of just going to be a filler ability you're going to use. It costs 15 focus. Then the other thing you might want to consider is Way of the Mach-Nathal. Now, right now, it's a passive ability. Raptor Strike also grants you Mach-Nathal Tactics, increasing your attack power by 3% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Now, on paper, that may sound really good, but the reality of it is you need Raptor Strike to activate Mach-Nathal Tactics. But the thing is, in the rotation you're using, there's really not much room or place to use Raptor Strike. So with that said, I didn't take that ability. I went with Throwing Axes. In the next tier, we have Murder of Crows, Mortal Wounds, and Snake Hunter. Of the three, Snake Hunter is the best. It's on a 1.5 cooldown, instantly granting you 3 charges of Mongoose Bite. Post Haste just gives you that 60% movement speed buff for 8 seconds after you use your Harpoon ability. And then Far Strider, your critical strike your ability critical strikes have a 10% chance of resetting the remaining cooldown on Harpoon. So of the two, I think Post Haste is the best. Dash is ridiculous. Caltrops, Improved Traps, and Steel Trap. Improved Traps and Steel Trap do basically equivalent damage, but Improved Trap is a passive ability, whereas a Steel Trap is an instant 1 minute cooldown. You have to actually, apply it to get it, but with Improved Traps, you're going to be using Explosive Trap when it's up on cooldown anyway, so it just makes your life easier. It reduces the cooldown of Freezing Trap by 15% and the cooldown of Explosive and Tar Trap by 50%. Dropping down next, we have Sticky Bomb, which is an AoE knockback. We have Ranger's Net, which is a root. And we have Camouflage, which makes you stealth for 1 minute. You and your pet stealth for 1 minute. And while Camouflage, you heal for 2% every 1 second. So I just took that because I think it's going to be a lot of fun, when you're questing and whatnot. We have in the next tier Butchery, Dragon's Fire Grenade, and Serpent Sting. I use Dragon's Fire Grenade myself. I had that selected because I was playing with it earlier. Dragon's Fire Grenade is the strongest damage dealing ability, and it has a dot on the main primary target after, and it applies a dot to the targets around that. So, it does good initial damage over time, and it's an AoE ability. Butchery replaces your Carve, which we talked about. Which is just your main focus dumping ability. Instead, it would be replaced by Carve, or replaces Carve with Butchery. It costs 40 focus, and you just slash enemies in a flurry, striking them with physical damage. I don't recommend this. It's very underwhelming. And then Serpent Sting. Targets hit by your Raptor Strike and Carve are also affected by Serpent Sting, dealing nature damage over 15 seconds. The thing about this is this does more damage than Serpent Sting does. Not to mention you have to keep using Raptor Strike, which again, just like Way of the Machnathal, is not ideal in your rotation anyway. So we're going to stick with that. And then in the last tier, we have Expert Trappers, hands down the best ability. And the reason we're choosing this is because for your Explosive Trap, it increases Explosive Trap damage to the triggering enemy by 75%. So not only are you using Improved Trap, reducing the cooldown by 50% on Explosive Trap, but we're using Expert Trapper, which increases the damage of your Explosive Trap. So let's talk about the single target rotation. First and foremost, you're going to be using Explosive Trap and Dragon's Fire Grenade on cooldown. Throwing Axes is really just going to be a filler ability. And then the way you want to start the fight with your initial burst is you're going to open up with Aspect of the Eagle. So you're going to use Explosive Trap, Dragon's Fire Grenade. You're going to use Aspect of the Eagle. Then you have 3 charges of Mongoose Bite. Once you hit Aspect of the Eagle, you're going to use all 3 charges of Mongoose Bite, and then use that Snake Hunter ability that you talented into, which instantly grants you 3 charges of Mongoose Bite. So you're going to use your 3 charges. You're going to use your Snake Hunter. You're going to have another 3 charges. You're going to use all of those within the 12 seconds that Mongoose Fury is up. So you're going to get the most damage out of your Mongoose Bite ability as possible. You're going to get a total of 6 charges. And don't forget that the Aspect of the Eagle ability increases your chance to gain charges of Mongoose Bite by 100%. So you're going to be probably proccing a few extra Mongoose Bites in the meantime, but you're just going to use as many as you can in that 12-second window while Mongoose Fury is up. And then once you do that, you're going to use Flanking Strikes, you're going to apply your Lacerate, Bleed, and then you're going to be using those abilities on cooldown. All of those abilities on cooldown. The one thing you do want to watch for is when Aspect of the Eagle is, coming close to coming off cooldown. You're going to want to make sure that you have 3 Mongoose Bites ready to go for when that comes off cooldown, so you can, reapply your high burst damage. So let's take a look at what it looks like. First, you're going to do your Explosive Trap, Dragon's Fire Grenade, Aspect of the Eagle, use your 3 Mongoose Bites. Then you're going to use your Snake Hunter. You use the other 6 charges. You still have a few seconds up. We just got to proc a Mongoose Bite. You're going to use your Flanking Strike, and then you're just at this point going to apply your Bleed and start using things on cooldown. you're not going to worry too much about stacking Mongoose Bite outside of your DPS cooldowns. It just really won't benefit you. Your damage will really fall back. So you're just going to use everything on cooldown till you have Aspect of the Eagle almost up. Then you're going to start saving. At that point, you'll start saving, your charges for Mongoose Bite. And looking at the AoE rotation, you're basically just going to use Dragonfire's Grenade first and then Carve. You're going to use Carve and just dump your focus on Carve. Unless you take the Butchery talent, which I hope you don't right now anyway, then you're just going to use Butchery for AoE. That is my guide for the Survival Hunter. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Feel free to leave a comment and subscribe.